All right, welcome back to Good to Geek Out. Good place to go to geek out. We're gonna geek out really quick. Get right to it. Episode 3 and 4, War for Cybertron. Second half,
Earth.
Earthrise. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
4, San Antonio. Transformer rollout, fellas.
Big Greg, West Hills, Cali. What's good?
Omar with a new cut from Gardena.
Rob Lucy with an old cut from Phoenix, Oregon.
Knock coming from San Francisco.
All right, so we start off episode 3, and how did Bumblebee become an Autobot so quick, and all of a sudden he's Optimus's Jiminy Cricket?
Oh, because this episode they started to really just throw all of these little footballs out there back to like the movie, the old cartoon episode, everything. I mean, there was so much. I mean, Bumblebee with his Autobot emblem right there on his chest, right on his sternum. That was pretty dope. We start hearing more about Teletran 1. I was amped. I was like, okay, I'm loving where this episode is going. And then there's just so much more. I know we'll get into it in the context of the conversation, but I was amped for this episode. I loved it.
What I felt in this episode to get to Ed's point, I feel that they're really ramping it up towards heading towards G1. To Omar's point, I think that it is a touch of Goofy walking Pluto. There is that they're both dogs, right? But there's also just really other interesting implications, because if Teletran 1 is alive, artificial intelligence, and they're creating life, how do Autobots give birth? They never talk about creating new Autobots, but they created this ship, if that's the case. So it's an interesting kind of concept of what technology, I guess.
Well, I wanted to touch on one thing to your point, Rob. I think a lot of it has to do, if you go back to the old cartoon, like the All-Spark or the Spark of Life. So if they didn't give that spark to Teletran 1, maybe in their minds they don't technically think he's sentient. The other thing I want to rewind to just a bit, getting back to Bumblebee, is it's the first time where Prime is like, hey, I screwed up. We need to get back to Cybertron. Yeah. We need to find the Allspark and get back to Cybertron. And that's where Bumblebee's like, hey, I'm with you. And then Prime's like, oh, you're an Autobot now. And he's like, oh, yeah.
Oh, that's when they was planet surfing on the outside.
Yeah, and the thing is that as cute as the planet surfing was, and I think you're 100% correct on that, Luce, is this show has actual artists that are doing it, which is a really interesting, we see it in some of the bigger strokes that they do, but they do small things like this. And right now, Optimus, as I do, I just got done watching it. Optimus is on the outside. Optimus isn't on the inside with the rest of the Autobots. He's physically and being represented artistically on the outside, looking, being like, I fucked up. Like the Allspark's out there somewhere. Like I got to go in there, and like they're calling you on the bridge. It's not just, hey, we've got again, metaphorically, they're still asking for you. You're still the captain. They still need you on the bridge. And then you have Bumblebee coming out in that classic, again, yellow, red, and it's interesting because later when you see the Decepticon symbol being removed, it's, to go to Lucy's, Marine Corps thing, there's this thing about becoming one of a thing and getting it tatted on you and having that symbol being, in whatever your larger group may be. So it really is a beautiful, if not moving fast, way to kind of set up, I think, G1 and to set up where Optimus is in our story outside looking in as an Autobot. But to get into Optimus and Bumblebee here, and it carries throughout these 2 episodes, and I think I had noticed it at the beginning of these last episodes, I do not like Optimus's voice.
No,
100%. It is.
I was going to bring it up later. It is
grating on me during the fight, like when he's doing like the monotone. Optimus is supposed to be monotone, but like there was something about its gravelly gratiness in the fight when like there's something about classic Optimus that even when the stakes were high, I'm still talking like Optimus. Get out of here. You know, like there's this John Wayne almost staccato
It's
that
definitely
just,
a John Wayne vibe.
that stays consistent. And this one, there's some, I don't know, like I said, it's gravelly and and there's a pat, maybe, you know, maybe it's because Optimus is on the brink and trying to figure out who he is. But like I said, it stood out, and I couldn't tell if it was an artistic choice or if I just don't like the voice actor, who I'm sure is accomplished in other things, but in this particular role, because I have such a vivid sonic rendering of what Optimus is in my mind, it just clangs. It sounds like a clang to me.
So that's where okay, so this was awesome because this is where you actually get to see Autobots and Decepticons kind of clash in their ideology, right? Where, you know, they're going, and then all of a sudden they know the Seekers are coming. They see the Seekers are coming, and Alita's like, okay, let's hide, let's spread out. We don't want them to know our location. Where the Decepticon is thinking, yeah, but
We ain't no
hey, you know what I'm saying? Right. It's like that Wu-Tang Clan Forever skit where it's like, hey yo, ain't that black? Is that black? Don't we got beef with that kid? And then you just hear guns, right? Right. This is exactly what it was like. He's like, wait, why are we waiting? Like, don't we got beef with them? And then he just starts dumping.
It's more like they are used to being on top, and the Autobots are used to being a guerrilla faction that run and hide, hit and run, and hiding from because they were the lesser of the groups. So the Decepticons are like, nah, we don't hide. We walk up and down the middle of the street because we own this place. And that's their attitude, even though they were on the run from other Decepticons.
Autobots are more, because of that, they're more strategic, right? And the Decepticons are typically hammers.
Decepticons right? Be like, yo, they call me Perceptor because it's on site.
You know, the guerrilla warfare fighting tactics is how they're going to have to survive. But now a couple of interesting things have happened. One thing, and I don't know if you guys know, because I couldn't kind of figure out the timeline. How long were Optimus Prime out? How long were they out? Because it seems like Cybertron has fallen really far, where, you know, they're, as Megatron puts it later, culling the weak so they can harvest the energon, and then he makes the ship.
I mean, it was long. It had to be long enough that no more energon was being made or created somehow.
But I think to frame it, or the thing that gives them the X factor in that is that the arc they're all passed out. We have no idea how long they're passed out on that ship for before they find them. And so it can be a cycle. It can be 10 cycles. It can be whatever they need to squeeze in story later into that point. Because I wouldn't mind if they fucking went back and covered more Quintesson stuff, because I feel a little robbed in that corner.
Come on, we can
these
protect you.
Episodes, I understand, like, even though I know we were robbed of the quintessence, I understand why they did, because, like, look how much they put into these two episodes, how much action. Like, these just was strictly almost all fighting, except for the time when, you know, Megatron had me ready to join his team. But I think that's episode 4, though.
Yeah, so I mean, so like onto this, I think the next scene is the Nebulon space station stuck in the middle of a
space bridge.
I keep wanting to say Stargate.
It's space bridge. Right?
Yeah, and for anybody who knows Transformers Gen 1 and 2, Nebulos is the place where they created the Headmasters and the Target Masters. So that kind of plays into things later, but it's interesting to know that they brought that back up. They could have made any random, you know, planet name or whatever people, and the fact they pulled Nebulos out is interesting to me.
I think that what I enjoyed about leading up to that scene, and you know, just besides the giant visual and you know, Deep Space Nine concept of being stuck in the middle of a wormhole, I think that they really start building up, I don't want to say the conflict, but the conflicting ideas that are parallel within the Autobots to the Decepticons, in the sense of Wheeljack versus Ratchet. And like, you're like, these cats are never going to go to blows or anything, but they think and answer problems in a very different way. And they do a great job just kind of like bringing that to the forefront. And when Wheeljack finally, and I guess it's weird because Wheeljack's my shit. I've always just loved Wheeljack. Something about the visual of his ears lighting up when he talks, like that shit was just always kind of dope. Yeah, just I think that no one's undermining Prime, but as Prime notes at the beginning of the thing, he's like, they should. Like Prime's like, they should be questioning my leadership. Like they should be, like they shouldn't be blindly following me anymore. And so you see, I guess, more agency kind of being given to everyone as he lets people figure things out without him dictating.
He left all the malcontents on the planet, on Cybertron.
Right.
Good point.
Right. All right. So how did y'all feel?
All the fanatics went with him.
Right.
How did y'all feel about Optimus Prime and Bumblebee standing on the ledge, staring out, and they're having this conversation, and then out of nowhere, Optimus Prime is like, you know, Bumblebee, appearances can be more than meets the eye. He says that, and basically, in my mind, what I see is both of them look at the camera like,
piercing the floor. Here you go, nerds. We got you.
Yeah. I threw that in there for y'all.
The last time I felt like that is when Greg said she's all on his helmet. That was in the last episode, and I was like, did this motherfucker just say all on his helmet? But also when he brings up the Alpha Trion would say blow scrap up. Like that's a good one.
Yeah, let's blow this scrap up. Let's just blow scrap up.
Blow scrap up, man.
I thought it was cool how they did I thought it was nice that they let Optimus deliver a joke.
Yeah.
Optimus doesn't get a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
Like he gets maybe like a snarky comeback in a fight every once in a while, but they don't give him just and he all like that. He set himself up for a dad joke. Like now that he's like, I could tell dad jokes now that I got Bumblebee around.
For sure.
He's the ultimate straight man. Everybody else tells jokes.
Exactly. But I think it is cool because in the last episode, when they had all the Seekers pop up in that surprise at the base, you just got all these different color combinations of Seekers. And each color combination of a Seeker is someone's story, whether it's Green Acid Storm or Thundercracker or whatever it may be. But there was a couple of new colors in there that I have not seen. And so that's always exciting because that means that there's going to be new Seekers that are going to get added. And whoever she is that just got dyed, there's going to be a special Seeker model of her that's made, and we don't know what she looks like. So I don't know, like the toy geek in me is kind of excited about the potential for that.
The Seekers have been taking L's this whole series.
It seems like there's an infinite amount of Seekers.
They're approaching stormtrooper status.
Yeah, no, seriously. They never win. They never hit anything.
Let's touch on when Shockwave comes out. Hey, everybody, come to the arena. I got salvation for you. And Megatron's already gone. Is he just drawing these people in here to suck the life force out of them?
Oh yeah, the cheese in the trap for sure.
Hell yeah.
Butter in the trap.
So they had into this.
One of the things that I thought was probably the greatest scene, first of all, Optimus and Megatron are G's. They both straight up just are gonna go. Like Optimus took on the Scorpion by himself, and then Megatron is like, "No, you're not getting my guy. I'm gonna stop the Scorpion just so I can get to get to Optimus." But that conversation where Optimus Prime is like, you know, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have anybody to fight, and you wouldn't have all these followers. Basically, I'm the Joker to your Batman. Yeah. Kind of conversation. Yeah. We are nothing without each other. Yeah. And I was like, whoa.
I think that
Megatron was right.
I think the one thing about that scene is what Strutter was talking about that I realized is when Optimus says Autobots retreat. I've never heard that sentence. It's Decepticons retreat.
Retreat. Right.
Autobots, they never said that.
Because they're trying. I'm
that,
telling you, they're trying to blur. They're trying to blur the two.
Which I get, but I didn't realize how much the voice actor grinded on my ears until I heard him say that, and I was like, "Oh, that's not right in a lot of ways."
So
and
are we going to talk about Scorponok whooping their ass for 30 minutes?
Hold on.
Thank you.
That's the whole second episode.
It's the beginning of, well, that's the thing, is that I think it's the beginning of the first or the third episode. Is not only is there all this setup happening, but like the Mandalorian and whatnot, they're doing kind of these thematic things, and we have aliens with this, like, you know, like they're doing their version of aliens, but instead of having small run around hiding in the vent creatures, like Scorponok is just tick 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 tick, and as soon as that one dude walks up, I'm like, bro, I don't know your name. Like literally,
Austin Powers. You don't even have a name tag.
Name, man. You don't need to be walking up that close.
He was the black guy in horror movies, first person to go.
Well, it was funny. Like he's a red shirt. Like I was looking at him, like, look at you in your red and white, like you're a Star Trek red shirt, and boom, he catches that tail right in the chest.
Oh my gosh.
I will say this about Scorponok that was funny to me. I chuckled because whoever was writing his lines got the synonym book out. Because if he called you a liar, he also called you a falsifier,
Deceiver.
A deceiver. It was just like the whole time he's just one word, but he's going in on whoever it is.
Oh, it was awesome. And when Prime finally, all right, you know, we can skip around, but when Prime hits him into the trench, right? He goes down. They think it's over, and all of a sudden, like all the noise stops, and then you just start hearing transforming. Like my heart was beating. My heart was beating. I was like, yo.
Not just transforming, super loud and slow transforming.
Yes.
I've never heard aired on that level. Like it was, you knew it was like a horror movie at that point. Because like
I literally said out loud,
1,000 times, but not like this.
Happen.
But literally, when they were going back and forth, Megatron and Prime, and I think after he had patched him up, like everything Megatron said, I was sitting there like, okay, I don't disagree with you. Like Prime, and Prime knew it though. Prime was like, yeah, I messed up.
Been saying that.
And I was on Megatron's team this episode, except for when, you know, they helped you and you still turned on him. But again,
he's Megatron.
Right.
He's the only real one in the equation.
Which the funny thing is, since Scorponok was here, Scorpion, that's the scorpion in the frog parable, where the scorpion asked for a ride across the lake, and and the frog, he stabs the frog anyway, and the frog said, "You killed me." He said, "I am who I am." I know I butchered the parable, but still.
We got it.
But yeah, like that was the only time. But other than that, Megatron was spitting facts this episode.
Lucy, did you not get flashbacks of Starscream's coronation scene in this episode?
I was about to go there because Soundwave was like, well, what happened? Oh, he was in the center of the explosion, and then Starscream puts his hand on his shoulder and he's like, it's time to rejoice. That doesn't even skip a beat. Not even a beat. It's time to rejoice for new leadership. Let's go. Not even a split second.
You know what I wanted to happen?
And they're like, okay, let's go. I guess Starscream, you're our leader.
I was really hoping he kicked Megatron's body like in the movie.
Oh, dude.
He's like, we're just like,
we can't
I was sad we only got one tape. We only got Ravager. I thought.
But I thought about you when that happened, because what happens? The tape pops out and then he transforms, and you were like, you didn't want to see that, and it did it. And when they did it, I was like, yes, like Omar.
I wanted Rumble. Like, you got more tapes, right? Let's see them.
You know it's always Ravage first, or Laserbeak.
I could not think of the fourth one, and I refused to Google it. Ravage, Laserbeak, Rumble. There was a fourth one?
Frenzy.
God dang it, that's gonna make me so angry. I couldn't think of that earlier today.
What did you guys think about the end of episode 4?
Well, he's not gonna. I mean, end episode 3.
You see how the energy died right there? No, episode 4.
It was because it wasn't as much action, right? It was a lot of build up between Optimus. the, the the okay, I'm sorry. I keep laughing because I can't get this image out of my head of that bullshit band-aid that Wheeljack put on Megatron. I've been thinking about that all day.
It's a metal patch.
Because he didn't want to fix him at all. He basically like took out some bubble gum and put some tape.
Yeah, the Transformer equivalent of bubblegum.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no, I don't know. It's funny. Megatron, I love Megatron in this series. I mean, just how did we get here?
You know why? How we got here? I'm gonna bring another dad joke into it. He didn't have the metal.
Stupid.
He said it. I didn't say it. I'm just repeating.
I know. Some great Starscream lines. We've had a change in management. That was awesome.
Prime hit another one early in the one too. Make it so when he's going, I'm like, oh, it's straight from fucking Star Trek: The Next Generation.
You dirty little bitch. That was gonna be my sign out.
Okay, so where are they? They obviously didn't get blown up by the Nemesis blast, and they're waking up in the dark somewhere. It says they're in the same place, but is this where we get to Earth? Coming up to 5 and 6.
That'll be interesting to find out.
We shall see.
Episode 4, I think, did an amazing job highlighting, again, like we already talked about the fighting, Megatron's charisma and his interaction with Scorponok, and then bringing up the Quintessons and being like, yeah, no, we flipped on our slave masters. I'll tell you who we are. Like, and he's so upset that he's not kicking Optimus's ass that he has to take the time to stop and explain this shit. So again, like, there's just this beauty of the way that Megatron's being presented. Like, Megatron is at one point in just like draped in purple because of the lighting, like the way that he just like looks, and it just undercut visually the emotional change that he's going through. And when he gets into the slug match with Optimus, and he's like, I don't care if everybody else dies around us.
Right.
This shit's going. And the sound effects, again, we talk about the visuals and the sound, like you heard those punches land. Like, those were heavy metal on metal punches. And they just go at it. And it, again, is just hella dope. It highlights the way that Decepticons and Autobots answer problems, how they view moralistically the value of duty, the value of word, of honor. The scene between Optimus and Megatron, just having that dialogue back and forth, I think was just some of the strongest writing.
But on that note, can't wait for the last two, man. It's going to be great reviewing these, and we need a lot more time than this. Editor San Antonio, I'm out.
Rob Lucy out from Phoenix, Oregon.
Boba Fresh, I was out, then I was back, then I was out again, then I was out again, then I was back, and then I'm here, and now I'm out.
And he's still here. Omar from Gardena, and I'm out.
Big Greg from West Hills.